So, we just got a brand new trailer and an announcement of a release date for the brand new game from legendary game director Hideo Kojima. I mean, this man is my spirit animal. I love him to death. The same man behind the Metal Gear Solid series, one of the most innovative video game directors, the true sort of godfather of cinema in video games. This man who understands not only how to take cinematic storytelling and visuals and put them in the gaming, but he also understands how to market his games in some of the most creative and experimental ways possible. Yes, his brand new game, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, which is a sequel to 2019's Death Stranding. And the fact that it's been 6 years since that game came out is disgusting. How has it been what? There's been more time in between Metal Gear Solid 5 and Death Stranding than in between Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2. That is wild. And this trailer that he just released is a 10-minute teaser. If you even want to call it a teaser, it's a 10-minute look at what this game actually is and what we can expect. Now, Death Stranding, listen, it is a very divisive game for a multitude of reasons. First things first, it's a game that's very different from anything else Kojima's ever made. It's not a stealth espionage game. It's not really even an action game. What Death Stranding is an experience. It's a vibes game. It's the type of game you play and you have to be kind of immersed into the world from the get-go for it to really work the way Kojima intended. If you didn't know what Death Stranding is, it's a game that takes place in this post-apocalyptic version of America. An America that's been devastated by this thing that's called the Death Stranding. Now, I would love to try to explain what all that is. There's a lot of very confusing things about the world that I don't even really understand. But long story short, the United States is disconnected, and you play as Norman Reedus, who plays this guy Sam Bridges, who has to trek across all of America, connecting the different isolated cities. You're rebuilding America, which is now called the UCA, United Cities of America. You're bringing the world back together. And when you first enter this wasteland that Death Stranding presents, it is exactly that, a wasteland, an empty, horrible area filled with bad guys and just difficult terrain to sort of navigate. And that's the purpose of the game. What the game is navigating terrain. You're delivering packages and going from community to community, connecting people, and having to go over this horrible, horrible landscape that's almost impossible to actually traverse at times. You're using tools, you're building bridges, you're doing different things to actually make the world livable and easier to traverse for the next people that are coming. And there will be next people, because the whole, sort of idea of the game and what Kojima was going for was to try to make this connected experience. As other players around the world are playing the same game, they are building things that will now populate your version of the world. So if another player built a bridge in a certain spot, that bridge might now actually be in your world, your version of the game, and it makes the game a little bit easier. And seeing little things like that made sort of the themes of the game all come together. This idea of working together, building this world and connecting us back together. It was a brilliant thing, especially to play in the middle of COVID. Wow. Now, amongst all that gameplay, what the game also was an incredibly deep, emotional, and explosive story. A story that was massive. I mean, this game is one of the most ambitious stories ever told, not just in a video game, but ever. You have a wide array of characters. You have great villains, one played by Troy Baker, who's so good. You have incredible concepts, amazing visuals, beautiful music, and just really heart-aching moments. This game achieved some really powerful Joe Marchione tears. I'm not gonna lie, I shed quite a few throughout its runtime, especially when it comes to Mads Mikkelsen's character, who's so good here. Overall, for me personally, this was an unbelievable gaming experience. I understand how some people could be very bored by this game. It just doesn't really click or connect. I get it. I understand how this game can be frustrating at times, but there was really something special. The moment this game actually clicked and vibed, it's magical. And now Death Stranding 2 seems to be more of that experience, except maybe now all those people wanting more action, wanting more gaming, video game stuff, it looks like that's actually going to be here. Now, we don't exactly know what the plot of this game is, exactly what you're doing now that America's connected, but we know that somehow Mexico is going to come into play. Whether you're going into Mexico and then South America, trying to connect the entire continent of North America, that seems to be what's going on here. I don't know. But what we do know is there's a bunch of different other story threads going on, like Sam's baby Lou is missing. Higgs from the first game, played by Troy Baker, is back and really creepy, and he's running like a cult seems like they're hunting Sam. There's this dude from Mexico who's also Solid Snake for some reason, and he seems to be kind of this new Mads Mikkelsen bad guy sort of antagonist of the game. A lot of the stuff, the apocalyptical stuff that we thought might have been settled and done with at the end of the first game seems to be back. Of course, there's more BTs and more of these giant squid monsters that you're going to be fighting. You see a lot more action in this trailer than I saw in the first game. Of course, you still have the typical shooting and, you know, sort of throwing grenades and ink monsters that populated the first game, but we see also here, giant mech battles, like Pacific Rim mech battles, where you take your ship and you put it on top of an ink monster, a big BT, you take control of that thing, and you're gonna be fighting other giant ink monsters. That's some Final Fantasy shit. That is awesome, and I don't know how much of a game mechanic that's actually going to be here, or if this is just like an isolated little mission in the middle of the game, or if this is something that's going to happen a lot, and how cool it's actually going to play. But that's awesome, man. It's literally like Metal Gear. He's essentially just making Metal Gear again, which is dope. This trailer is just beautiful. First off, the graphics and the actual way the game looks is unbelievable. This is a massive step up, even from the first game, which I thought was visually beautiful. I mean, the environments, the landscape, the moon at one point. It's unbelievable. It is definitely using the full power of the PS5, and I cannot wait to actually see this thing booted on my screen. It seems you're still going to be delivering packages, doing what a lot of people hated about the first game. It looks like Sam is definitely carrying stuff in creative ways, but the ways to carry those things around and utilize this rebuilt world looks awesome. There's like a zip line and train systems and bigger bridges, and there's, at one point, you're fighting a guy on a motorbike, which is even more Final Fantasy shit. Like, it just seems like it's the first game and the ideas that game presented, but now just expanded on a massive level in a brand new world with beautiful visuals, a new epic story. Like, it's if the first game was sort of a proof of concept for Hideo Kojima, I hope this is the game that he truly intended on making. This is now, I have the confidence of Death Stranding 1, I know how to make this stuff, I know what my vision is, let's expand it. Now this is the game people have been waiting for, and I can't wait. This is coming out June 25th, and as all of you know, if you watch my channel, this is my most anticipated game of the year, other than GTA 6, obviously, which I still doubt is coming out this year, but who knows. I had my doubts that this was coming out this year, because we really hadn't heard anything, and then out of nowhere, it's like, hey, it comes out in 3 months. Enjoy. So I guess GTA will probably end up being the same thing. We'll just, like, drop a trailer randomly and be like, surprise, it comes out next week. Isn't that cool? I wish more game companies would do that. Remember when Todd Howard came out, they announced Fallout 4 after, like, 10 years of waiting, and they were like, hey, by the way, comes out in a couple months. Yeah, that's awesome. I love shit like that. More studios should do that. But this trailer is absolutely epic. The cast here is unbelievably amazing. I can't wait to see Ellie Fanning, who's playing this character tomorrow, which Kojima's very literal with his names, the names he gives to characters, right? Sam Porter Bridges. It's called Sam Bridges because he's the bridge connecting the world. You have Fragile. Her name's Fragile because she's fragile. First game, you had Die Hardman. He's a hard guy to die. It's very difficult for him to die. That's pretty much it. So when I see a character who's named Tomorrow, it's like, okay, she is Tomorrow. She's the future, right? That's her representation. She's the future. And I have my theories on maybe she's Amelie, this new version of Amelie. There's different visuals in the trailer of her and Troy Baker's character connecting, and my mind is like, oh my god, how is that going to connect here? And I can't wait. I can't wait, man. You have George Miller here, kind of. He's like the Guillermo del Toro of this game, where he's visually in the game, but there's another actor portraying him. There's a few characters they didn't list the voice actors for, so I suspect those are surprises, right? There's a couple they just named the character's name. So I'm interested to see who's actually playing them. I'm just so pumped, man. Hideo Kojima is my favorite game developer. As somebody who mainly talks about film on this channel and wants to make films and write as a filmmaker in the future, my biggest inspirations usually come from the film world, but Hideo Kojima is one of my top sort of inspirations, both in how I like to market my work, how I like to present my work. He is just one of those top tier figures in my life. I want my work to be as creative, as, you know, ballsy, as just wild and expansive as the stuff that this man comes up with. Not just in the Metal Gear series, which I think is probably the greatest story ever told in video games. The Metal Gear world, the characters, it's just, not only is it just so cool, but it's also deeply emotional and thematic and affecting on a very high level. So much so that that series has had such an impact on my life, and now you have Death Stranding, which, yet again, I know it's divisive, but I love it. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for what he does after this. He's just the GOAT of gaming, in my opinion. Better be getting Death Stranding on June 25th. Everybody go get it. PS5. Thank you guys for watching. Are you guys excited for Death Stranding? Let me know down below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one.